For the past decade, medieval fantasy media from Japan have mostly been dominated by isekai, and only recently have hardworking medieval fantasy carved their niche back with anime and manga such as Frieren, Witch Hat Atelier, Helk and Dungeon Meshi, to name just a few. Now you could be a bit more cheeky and call them native isekai on discussion threads and dip out before anyone can correct you. But it is true that popular anime, manga and light novels have been generating isekai stories with any kind of gimmick you can think of. You can probably pick a profession and find some light novel with it, like a truck driver. Hey, this actually looks kind of funny, just like the vending machine one. Can't wait for the anime adaptation. The answer is quite simple really. It sells, and for my money, I'd pick any generic isekai over some high school setting battle anime that was infesting the seasonal anime lists before isekai boom. Coinciding with the isekai trend is the more noticeable trend of long, descriptive titles of light novels and web manga that I'm definitely not the first one to point out for you. The absurdity of some of these titles. Now, I'm not 100% certain why these titles got so out of hand, but my somewhat educated guess based on tiny bit of research is that there's a limited amount of shelf space even on the World Wide Web of web novels, that you need every bit of edge to get more eyeballs reading your story. So someone did just that and it worked, and when something works then you're going to get copycats. Fortunately, or unfortunately, this worked for the copycats as well, so we are stuck with that for the foreseeable future. Maybe Pause and Select has more eloquent answer. Go watch his videos on isekai. Of course, these do not have to be isekai, and one good example is Banished from the hero's party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside, which is quite good, recommended. You can even call it native isekai to annoy your peers. There is actually a second trend hidden in that title, and that is very convenient for this video, and that is Banished from the hero's party ... There are quite a few Japanese media with this exact title hankering back to the simple days when hero's party consisted of a knight, fighter, mage, priest and author's favorite D&D class, which is usually the target of said kicking. These are not as popular as the evergreen description of I was reincarnated to another world as a ... but they're getting there. If isekai speak to our desire to redo our lives with greater knowledge, then this trend of getting kicked out of hero's party speaks to our desire to show those dumb idiots that kick me out that I don't care about their stupid party and will start my own with blackjack and hookers. Determined to spend an uneventful retirement in rural fantasyland is actually getting its second season during this winter season. It's going to get a bit meta, but definitely worth checking out if you haven't. Speaking of meta, what would you get if you combine all these trends? Isekai, kicked out of hero's party, overly descriptive titles and add some meta commentary to boot. Well, you will get the one shot. I heard that if you get kicked out, you can somehow become popular. And the serialization The Strongest Hero's Party Wants to Know Love by Yamada Hadayuban. We even get a bonus treat which you're probably familiar with Helk and Frieren in The Strongest Hero's Party Wants to Know Love. The world-ending threat has already been vanquished and we are sort of reading an epilogue. The one shot I heard that if you get kicked out you can somehow become popular is also filled with meta commentary for both isekais and light novel titles. The inciting event in the one shot is that the mage Itsuka wants to get kicked out of hero's party because it would make him popular with women. Our party leader and the hero Sayu refuses his resignation not because he is sort of evil conniving villain, but because she is actually a woman and is in love with Itsuka. There are other aspects to the story, but I would be spoiling the entire thing if I'd give anything more. The one shot is 30 manga pages with almost half of it being just extra stuff. I mentioned the serialization The Strongest Hero's Party Wants to Know Love, and that is where the most of the meta commentary is found. It adds the isekai aspect and plays with it fully, making some commentary that might hit a bit too close to home for some. What the serialization does change is that in the one shot Itsuka does not know that Sayu is a woman, but in the serialization it is made very clear that he knows. I'm not sure how to feel about that yet, but I'm sure the author keeps cooking on that. What gives me me this confidence is that the first real conflict in the story that the author decided needed highlighting was dragons fucking cars. No, you will not get any more context. Go read it if you want to know more. Man, I've read ecchi that have not been brave enough for that. Another aspect is that the series adds another isekai heroes to the mix, that do bring out their fourth wall breaks and really add to the question, what would isekai heroes do after the demon has been vanquished? At the time of writing, there are only 6 chapters out and we are really only just getting started with the story. As a criticism, I did mention that dragons getting it on with motor vehicles was a plot point, and while it was amusing, the joke was well and truly on its last legs even on this short amount of time. I'd say that's a nitpick though, and the story completely makes up for it for being so out of left field. I hope the series does well, and hopefully we see more isekai with meta commentary on the industry as a whole. The Strongest Heroes Party Wants to Know Love is not a masterpiece, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind when you're sick and tired of isekais as a whole. Then give it a read and see if it shares your grievances with the genre. Support the series here and support the author here. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe and all that jazz.